Well, a very good morning or afternoon, everybody, and Happy New Year. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope your day is going great so far. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasedtravelagent.com, I want to welcome all of you to our very first webinar of 2017 from our travel agent community. Our host for today's webinar is Scenic Cruises, and our speaker is Randy Goodrich. Randy will be talking to us about everything that's new for Scenic Cruises in 2017 and 2018. Randy does travel agent training for both sister cruise lines, Scenic Cruises and Emerald Waterways, and is also a business development manager in many states for both cruise lines. And as always, we really appreciate the support we get from Scenic and Emerald. Before we get started, please remember that you are all muted, but we welcome your questions. Please type in your questions at any time during this webinar in the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of Randy's presentation, we will get to as many questions as we can. So let's get right to all of this exciting information about Scenic's plans for this year and next year. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you, Sandy, and Happy New Year to everybody. I hope it's off to a good start. We're into the wave season and lots of different deals out there, so I hope you're able to communicate those to your clients and the businesses coming in. Today we're going to go over Scenic. We're going to kind of give an overview. Some of you may have heard some of it before. We'll get through that, and then we'll talk about what's new and what's going on, and where the really excellent sales opportunities are. So I think many of you may have heard of Scenic, and so we won't spend too much time going through that. And as soon as I can get my slide to advance, there we go. So we're actually pretty pleased. We're in our 30th year in business. We started 30 years ago in Australia. It was started by Glenn Maroney, a young man out of college, did some local tours in Australia, and eventually grew that business by the year 2000, where he was taking primarily Australians and New Zealanders all over the world, all 7 continents, and doing it in a luxury, all-inclusive style. So it started to grow in popularity quite a bit, and he went into the UK and has now, of course, in North America. In 2006 and 7, he chartered some river cruise ships from the competition to get because it's becoming so popular, he wanted to get a better feel for what that product was like and what he could do better if he had started to build his own ships. So in 2008, he actually built his first 2 ships. He had trouble finding a shipyard to do that because he insisted that they have walkout balconies, which everybody thought was crazy. Nobody had done that before. They had the French balcony, but this is actually, as you see here, a balcony where you can sit out and enjoy that wonderful ambiance and view of these beautiful areas along the riverways. You can see there too in that picture one of the original boats. That's actually the Diamond, one of our original ships, which is now in Bordeaux, and later on you'll hear me talk about it going through some renovations now. All the ships that we did build up till 2011 were retrofitted in 2012 with some new features. So the balconies with the railing went away, and we put these glass panels in. I'll show you a little bit later. So the ships today look a little bit different than they did back then, but we still have the very large lounge there you can see in the front with the dining room below. Our 169 passengers on a 443-foot ship, which is the largest size you can have on the Rhine Main and the Danube, where other competitors might have 180 to 200 passengers. So we tend to have fewer cabins. The cabins tend to be about 20% larger, and the public areas are larger too. But we'll get into all that. This is a picture of one of our newest ships, the Opal. So you can see where the balconies are still there. It's hard to see them. I'll show you a better picture in a minute. But there's actually a double pane glass. So instead of a railing, you have this ability to open and close. If the weather's not so good outside, getting cold, getting wet, windy, whatever, you can actually stay out in your balcony and enjoy the ambiance without, no matter what the weather is. So again, the ships, the majority of our ships, we have 17 ships now. Majority in Europe are the 443 feet long, 38 feet wide, 169 passengers. We do have 1 single cabin. We have extra crew. We have fewer cabins at the very bottom there, those little windows at the bottom, those are the standard cabins, uh, because we put more crew members down there too. We also have our second brand we started in 2014. This is the 4-Star Plus Emerald Waterways. It has been in business 3 years. It's gotten 3 awards, one each year. First one was Best River Cruise Design, and for the last 2 years, the Best Value. This is more of a value product for your clients that perhaps are looking at some of our competitors who focus on price, trying to be the lowest. I encourage you to share with them the opportunities with Emerald, because Emerald will include more things. 3 new ships coming out for Emerald next year. No new ships for Scenic next year. This year, actually, 17. So in 2016, this last year, we started with the Mekong in January and the Irrawaddy in September. We built special ships. There aren't any ships like these on the rivers in the Mekong and the Irrawaddy. They're more of a yacht style ship instead of kind of the more Asian looking box style. Very, very luxury focused, small, 34 cabins, 68 passengers on the Mekong, 22 cabins on the Irrawaddy. In Europe, we go to all the major waterways, and those would include the primary waterway throughout Europe is the Rhine-Main and the Danube. Through the canal system and the lock system, that whole system was opened up back in the late 80s, so that one could actually travel from the North Sea to the Black Sea if they wanted to. That's about a 3-week trip. Typically, people would travel from Amsterdam to Budapest or vice versa on the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube through the middle there. But the rivers of Europe were, in fact, the highways of Europe for centuries, and this is the way commerce got transacted. So it was. There's a lot of really interesting, not only just cities, but towns and villages along the way that your clients get to stop and kind of have a day of immersement into that particular area. And that's what makes the river cruises so popular, because it's so easy to see these wonderful destinations without much effort, because the ship's doing all the work. It's your transportation, it's your restaurant, it's accommodations, and your tour guide. So that's why these things are so popular. Now this year we also started in the Douro. We built our own ship for the Douro. We were the first company to do that. The other companies that have that itinerary actually lease their ships from a local Portuguese company, who so they can't do a lot to the ship as far as special features, whereas we can, and they have pretty restricted on where their itineraries go. So you'll see that ours is typically 11-day itinerary versus the others. One other thing to mention is the Seine River. We built a special ship there so that it actually goes all the way to Honfleur, where the other lines, the ships aren't able to go out into the open water and into that very small harbor of Honfleur. But what it does for your customer, besides seeing that cute harbor, is gets them about an hour and a half to 2 hours closer to Normandy, which typically is the highlight of that particular trip. So little nuances and differences in itinerary is important to look at. And then, of course, the Russia, that's a 2-week trip between St. Petersburg and Moscow. We talk about Scenic being the most all-inclusive of all the river cruise companies, and I'll show you a chart here in a second just to double underscore that. In the white, there's transfers included, all meals are included, all drinks are included, wine, spirits, beer, anytime they want it. They do have butler service for every cabin, even the standard cabins, and there's a mini bar in every cabin too, so they can have the drinks of their choice stocked every day in their cabin. And then the balconies with what they call the sun lounge, you might call it a sun room, the ability to close that balcony and enjoy it even in bad weather. So the red area is the most important because we just got the award from Cruise Critic in 2016 for the best shore excursion program, and in fact that is why people take a river cruise. The boats are very nice, the service on the boat's outstanding, but it's really about what you get to do each day in each destination that's most important and why people go. So we have multiple shore excursions. I'm going to show you a sample of an itinerary here in a minute, so you can see what that means, how important that is to your clients. It's similar to Regent Cruise Lines. Multiple things are included at no additional charge, so they have a choice of what they want to do. We have our Scenic Enrich events. These are private, once-in-a-lifetime type events. I'll talk about that more in a minute. And Scenic Sundowners, once a week, we're going to have a cocktail party, a wine reception, some really outstanding place for your clients. The GPS unit, one of the most popular things we have, is proprietary. It's built for us. It gives your clients the ability to even do more exploration on their own in these wonderful places. And instead of regular bikes, we have e-bikes so more people can enjoy the biking experience. Of course, all tips and gratuities, we're the first to actually include those. Not necessarily because we're so nice about that. It's because the Australian clientele, which we started with, does not normally tip people. So we wanted to have the very best services, the very best guides. So the decision was made to go ahead and pre-tip at a high level all of our onboard and onshore people. Wi-Fi throughout the ship, entertainment system within each room. There's entertainment that we have as live entertainment, a person on board that entertains, as well as bringing people on board from the local areas. We even bring artsy, craftsy type folks on board, depending on the area, who will help the clients can actually partake in, painting wooden shoes and doing whatever the locals are famous for there. So that's a lot of fun for a lot of people. Laundry concierge, we started last year. Once a week, they'll get their laundry taken care of. And then finally, introducing in 2017 is the Scenic Cruise Guarantee Program. I'll talk more about that later. Very unique. This is a chart. You can get it on rivercruiseadvisor.com. This compares, they go out and they travel on all the cruise lines and do a comparison of what's included for what you're paying for. So the blue line is Scenic. It sets the bar, having the most inclusions, the 6 dining choices, of course the proprietary GPS and some of those things. But basically everything's included. The only thing that's not included with Scenic is your massage, your haircut, and there is an upscale wine and champagne list if it's a special occasion. But other than that, everything's included onshore and on the ship. Then you have Emerald right above it. You can see with the green line where they have 6 different inclusions. So if you have a value customer, you want to probably lean them towards Emerald, compare that to say some of the others that are 4 stars, which have as few as 2 inclusions. So that just means they're going to pay a lot more money when they check out unless they do nothing. If they do nothing, then that may be a good deal for them. But if they want to enjoy the trip, want to not have to worry about paying tips and taking care of transfers and have an extra shore excursion or 2, then Emerald would be the choice for them. Otherwise, those who like the very best, Scenic. So here's a picture I took of the deck, so you can see it's actual real deck. So you have a door on the right, and the newer ships, it's actually a folding door. It folds all the way across. But you have the panel, 2 panels there. So on the wall, you can kind of see a little some buttons there. You just push the button, and that second panel goes up and down. You can see the track. It's really, really nice. You can end up staying, even though it gets cold and wet outside, you can stay out there all night if you want and enjoy the beauty of everything we're going by. Let's talk about staterooms real quick here. So we only have a few different types of staterooms. First of all, the decor throughout all of them is this very natural color. We think we're focused on the color on the outside. That's what people want to look at, not necessarily what's pretty on the inside. But you have beautiful furnishings. The category D and E, these are the ones down on the first deck. So it's too low to have a balcony, so they don't have a balcony. They have a big window up there that bring a lot of light in. But everything else, these run 160 square feet, which is quite a bit larger than some of the other companies offer for the lowest category. They have nice bathrooms. The bathrooms are all large. Showers are large, plenty of room to move around and stuff. 3 different shower heads, so that makes it pretty nice. Then on category C through P, these are the majority of the cabins. These we call balcony suites, so they all have the balcony. This would be the picture here. It's one of our regular balcony suites. And then there's a little bit higher category. These run 205 square feet, and then they go to 225 square feet in a deluxe category, and 250 square feet would be a junior suite. and they don't get any deeper, so they get wider. So that space between the bed and the chair gets a little bit bigger, which is nice for people that maybe have walkers or wheelchairs, something like that. And then you get into the bigger suites, the luxury bathrooms. You can see the beautiful marble we get from Italy. And this particular picture is one of the suites, the bigger suites, because it's got the bathtub. Normally there's just a shower. But again, they're very, very good sized bathrooms, lots of storage space. And then you've got the L'Occitane lotions and shampoos and things like that, which people love. They seem to take a lot of those back home with them, I think. And then you have the Royal Suite on the lower right. There's 4 of these on board the ships, midship typically. They're very, very nice, kind of 1-bedroom units, lovely. And then the big daddy are the Royal Panorama Suites. Now I say the big ones, these are 475 square feet on the newer ships. The older ships, it was a 1 room, so they were 350 square feet. This is 475. There's 2 of them. They're at the back of the ship in Europe. In Asia, they're in the front of the ship, and for Europe, they're in the back. So you've got a view from the balcony there on the side of the ship. In the back, it's a full panorama window. You're looking out over the wake. Just a gorgeous 180-degree view. Really, really nice units. Largest ones on the rivers today until March, when our new ships are retrofit for the Diamond and the Sapphire. We're putting in a new category. I'll show you in a little bit. Royal Owner Suite, where we're combining a Royal Suite and a balcony suite to make it 515 square feet. So things just keep getting bigger. Dining. We have 6 dining choices, which is most others have 1, 2, maybe 3. We have 6. So we take that extra space by having fewer cabins and create some more space for dining. Crystal Dining Room is our primary dining room, single seating. Come between 7 and 8, 8:30, whatever. You'll find a table, plenty of food, and plenty of room, because we have the other choices. So Portobello's, the picture on the top there of those 2 couples, they're in Portobello's. Unless they're in France, we call it L'Amour. But obviously, Portobello's is Italian, L'Amour is French. This is a private dining experience. They'd simply just tell their butler which night they would like to dine in that area. It would be a table for 2, 4, 6, or 8. And it's a wonderful 5-course dinner. It's up where it is in the front of the lounge. So if you see the picture on the lower right, you can look all the way to the front. That's looking past the main bar, which is rather large. And in the front is a sitting area, which during the day, but at night that's closed off. And we have seating for around 34, 36 people there. So everybody on board gets an opportunity to have that dining experience. It's really lovely because it's up high. It's up in the upper deck, not down in the dining room area. You get a little bit better view. Just mentioned these fees are all kind of dressed up. We don't really have a dress policy, but gentlemen will quite often, for the nicer meals, wear a coat and a shirt. No ties are necessary. And the ladies will sometimes dress up. But again, we don't have a formal dress policy. So you can see a little bit of everything. Table to read. This is a private dining experience. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. This is not for everybody on board. We only have X number of tables down in the dining room that is designated, kind of like a captain's table on an ocean ship. So that it can take 10, 12, 14 people, maybe as many as that, but typically around 8 to 10. And so we can't take everybody on board. So it's reserved for people who are on the top deck. So there's some advantages to what we call the Diamond Deck, which is Deck 3. And that's one of the advantages, is that you do get the invitation from the chef to dine one night at the Table de Rive. It's a wonderful 6-course wine pairing dinner. It can take 2 hours plus, lots of great conversation and lots of great wine and obviously great food. River Cafe, that's our deli. That's actually pictured in the lower right. It's part of the bar. There on the right side of the back of the main bar is an open area that's a deli. So it opens at 6:30 in the morning with light breakfast items, and then it transforms quickly into an all-day deli, kind of quick food. So you don't have the buffet or anything. You just go up there and say, you pick a sandwich or a salad or soup or whatever their specialty of the day is, or the nice snacks and desserts that they have. It's really a wonderful place to grab a quick bite and watch the world go by there and the beautiful scenery. You have al fresco dining on the top deck on those nice days that we can, with barbecue and everything else, all the drinks, etc. Beautiful experience there, especially going through some of the areas like the Rhine Gorge or the Iron Gates. All beverages are included, not just a little bit of wine, a little bit of beer, but anything they want to drink, anytime they want to. And you have 24-hour room service. Mentioned earlier, we did get the Best River Cruise Shore Excursion Award this year, which is very important from Cruise Critic. So when you go to each destination, there's a choice. There's not one tour each day. There's multiple tours, and that's the hardest thing your client will have to do, is choose which one. So as they book their river cruise, work with them a little bit. The tours are there. They're all explained in the brochure as well as online. You can send them a link to the itinerary details, and they can start to think about, there's in Tarascon, which is pretty small, a very, very famous old town on the lower Rhone, but it's in the Provence area. So you've got these beautiful choices here. Really hard to figure out which one you want to do, but you don't have to worry about what it costs. You just focus on what you want to do. Then the Scenic and Rich, these are the once-in-a-lifetime events. So these are exclusive to us. The violin picture there, that's on the Danube in Vienna. Instead of having a concert with a number of other groups in one of the concert halls, which is quite nice, we actually have a private concert in the Palais Liechtenstein. Just a very opulent, beautiful building in the center of Vienna. So everybody has an early dinner, and then we take our own buses and we go over to the Palais. You have champagne reception, this beautiful open area, and then you go into this room that's just, the artwork is unbelievable, and then you have a private concert and ballet. Another example is that picture at the bottom. That's in Avignon. That's Palais de Pape, the Pope's Palace, and we're actually the only private company that has a dinner and concert within the palace itself. So very, very special events, typically one per week. And our Scenic TaylorMade, this is a GPS unit. This is an outstanding product, and we had it built for us, and we update it every year with new features. There's 2 of these in each cabin. Your client simply takes these. If they're on a guided tour, they'll be told to listen to channel 2 for their guide. If they want to go out and do a self-guided tour on their own, there's pre-programmed tours that will walk them around just like a GPS in a car. It would lead you, but it'll also tell you the history of each one of the places it takes you to. And then importantly, it will take you back to the ship. It also can be used independently, just to walk about or ride the bikes, and it will follow you along. So the map will be there. You'll know which streets you're on. There's a red dot. You'll know where the ship is. And if you're coming along by something that is one of our points of interest we have loaded into the program, it will ping you and let you know that coming up on the right in one block is such and such, and you can choose to stop or not stop. They're also used on board, so we have a running commentary, river view, so that you'll see people walking on the ship or sitting and reading a book, but they have the earpiece in, and all of a sudden they'll get up and look at the right or the left side of the ship because they've been informed that there's something coming up that they may want to take a look at. So very, very cool unit. I understand this year we're adding some features of 2-way communication with the ship and perhaps with other passengers, so that would be very helpful. And our bikes are not just regular bikes, we have e-bikes. And we'll have some scheduled bike trips, but each day these bikes are available to be checked out. Now these models here, again, they're a little dressed up, and 2, they don't have helmets on, but we do provide the helmets. So the electricity is under the seat. You just turn it on, and you have up to 5 different levels. So there's no gears. You just use that. I call them booster bikes. They give you a boost if you're going up a hill or you're getting a little tired. These people are actually in Dürnstein in the Waha Valley of the Danube, and they are headed on a 22-mile bike ride up to the Melk Abbey, which I've done. It's fabulous, once in a lifetime. I'll never forget it type thing. We do have some more focused bike trips. We're doing those through Trek Travel, and that's their number there. So if you have a very active bicycle club or something like that, they'll have road bikes, professional mechanics, things like that. So that's take a look at that. Now here's an itinerary. This is the what we call P&B, the Prague, Nuremberg, Budapest itinerary. You can go through this. This is taken right out of our brochure. So you can see it would tell you day by day. Day 1, you arrive. Day 2, you have some tours in Prague itself to get your customer associated or familiar with that beautiful city, which is not on the river, so it's why you have a separate side trip. So the different things each day, and then they are taken by bus down to Nuremberg, and then they have an opportunity to, there's several different excursions in Nuremberg. You'll see that you have the Taste of Nuremberg, you have a chance to go see the memorial from World War II of the Nuremberg trials, things like that. We'll go through and taste the gingerbread, etc. So it gives your customer a good feel right up front of what their choices are. In Regensburg, they can either take the Regensburg tour, or there's a wonderful trip up to over to the Weltenberg Abbey, and you'll see the Danube Gorge, and you'll understand why you can't go any further up the Danube because of the gorge with rapids and very shallow water there. So very interesting. Or you can go to the Valhalla Monument, which you can ride the bike to. It's absolutely amazing tribute to all the famous Germanic people way back way when. So then you go to Passau, and in Passau, which is a beautiful little town, your customer has a choice of doing an all-day trip to Salzburg, where they'll see a private play of The Sound of Music, or they can take an all-day trip to Český Krumlov in the Czech Republic. Lunch is included with that, and then the ship will continue on to Linz. And when you come back at the end of the day from the tour, you will come back to Linz, or vice versa if we're going upriver. And then you visit Melk. Melk is beautiful. The Abbey in Melk is quite something. This is also where you have the alternative to do the bike trip, a 22-mile bike trip, or you can tour the Abbey. And then that evening we have the Sundowners. That's a cocktail reception. We go up this beautiful castle. It's the highest castle on the Danube. We have this breathtaking view of the whole area, the Waha Valley, and have some cocktails and wine and just enjoy the ambiance about an hour and a half or so, and then come back to the ship. Then we go into Vienna. In Vienna, you have all kinds of choices. There's guided trips to Bratislava. In Slovakia, you can go to the Schönbrunn Palace, enjoy that beautiful area where the Habsburgs, that was their summer palace. You could also go to the Spanish Writing School, different tours around downtown Vienna, and then that evening we have our Scenic Enrich, which is the private concert and ballet in the Palais Liechtenstein, which is, again, just remarkable. Then you head into Budapest. You've got a full day in Budapest to tour around, different tour options there. And then that evening, we actually typically will take the boat out and do about 11 p.m. ride up and down the river to see the beautiful lights, everything, the palace, the Parliament building, the castle, the different churches. Everything's lit up, and then we're playing Strauss, Mozart type music. It's really quite something. So that's just one of our itineraries, but you can see how many choices there are. Plus, you have the GPS unit and the e-bikes, which you'll be able to go out on your own. So what's new for this year? We have the River Cruise Guarantee that and I think I have a slide. I'll show you a little bit more of that in just a second. And we're doing an upgrade to the Scenic Diamond and Sapphire, two of our older ships. We're adding a vitality pool on the upper deck, a wellness gym. They did not have a gym at that time when they built those ships originally, so that will be added down below. So we're taking cabins out, standard cabins out from the lower deck. These ships are now have being smaller as far as passenger size. Don't recall, it's like 148 passengers, something like that. And then we're adding that Royal Owner's Suite on the Diamond deck, which would be 515 square feet, 1 bedroom, 2 bathroom, lovely facility there. And finally, we're adding Culinaire. This Culinaire is a cooking class area that will be in the dining room, in the front of the dining room, off to the side, and up to 10 people per day will be able to join the chef, have a cooking class on board. after they go in and shop with the chef, and then they prepare the food, and then they're able to eat the food. So that would be an additional short excursion that would be offered on the Rhone and on the Bordeaux area. So we have some current specials. I just received these. They got updated. We had our 30th anniversary specials, and now this has been refined a little bit. So we'll get you more information on these, but $1,000 air credit per person on all cabins booked if they don't take one of our air specials or something else, except that's until May 31st. So you book it between now and May 31st, or they can get free economy air on the standard suites on the 8 to 13 day itineraries, and on longer itineraries actually free premium economy air. On that Prague, Nuremberg, Budapest, you get the free economy air plus 3-night package in Prague, and then in Russia it's $1,000 savings, no air. And finally in Asia, the longer itineraries, which are most of the itineraries in Asia, you get free economy air. If you're on a shorter trip, it's $500. So those are just the current ones. You always want to look at these. They're always capacity controlled, so you can either call reservations to talk to them, or if you have access to our Express Book engine, then you can look this up anytime you want. Now we want to talk about the Scenic Eclipse. So this is the exciting thing for 2018. This ship, there's never been a ship built quite like this as far as the modern facilities for safety, comfort, environmental impact, all that stuff. And so it's for your customers who want to see the world but want to do it in style. This is going to be a phenomenal ship. But it's already over 60% sold out, even though we still have a year and a half until the first sailing. It's going to be luscious, very just wonderful space and facilities. It's typically, I mean, it really is in the luxury category, 5-star plus. So 114 suites, 228 passengers. Sorry, I don't know what that was. 114 suites, so there's 228 passengers except in the Antarctic and the Arctic, where we only have 200 passengers and bring on more Discovery team people. Discovery instead of expedition, this is for your clients who want to do this type of trip in style. There's 2 helicopters and a submarine, 7 passengers each. So 7 people at a time will be able to go up in a helicopter, go back into the hinterlands of Antarctica or wherever they are, or then go underwater and see what's down below. So very, very special. Lots of zodiacs, things like that, especially toys, depending where we are in the trip. So the ship is actually going to start in Croatia. It's being built in Croatia. We've taken Istanbul off the itinerary for the time being. We'll do a couple sailings the first few months. So that first sailing starts August 31st, 2018. We'll be in the Med, and then we'll take the ship over to Miami. The dotted line means no passengers on that segment. And then we'll do Cuba. So there's 3 sailings, 2 really immerse into Cuba, but they're almost totally sold out. And then the third kind of touches on Cuba and then goes down through the canal. And you go down South America. And by the winter of 2018-19, we're in Antarctica, and we'll spend most of the winter there, anywhere from 11 to 22-day itineraries. This ship is going to have the highest ice rating of any ship out there. It's got the new state-of-the-art Oxypod electric engines, which do a couple things. One, they're very quiet and there's no fumes, but they also run all the time. So we have the ability, even when we're stopped and stationary, we don't have to throw anchors out that ruin the bottom of mess up the bottom of the ocean floor in these sensitive areas, because we have the electric engines are tied to the GPS system. So it will stay right in that spot. We have extra large stabilizers, not only while we're cruising to make it smoother for your client, but even while we're stopped to minimize the wave action effect on the ship, so it's not too much rocking and rolling. It also has its own wastewater treatment plant on board, so zero impact to the environment. Just a phenomenal ship. At the end of the Antarctic, it will go up to Buenos Aires, and then it will head back to the Med and spend some time there, work their way up Northern Europe with some trips like Dublin to Bergen, trips like that. And then it will go all the way up to the Arctic, Longyearbyen, Svalbard, all the way up, way above the Arctic Circle. And then it'll come back down, it'll do Iceland and come back to North America. So that's the itinerary for the first year. Let's talk about deposits and payments and things like that. So first of all, for our river cruises, the deposit is $500 per person, non-refundable. You have to pay that within 2 days of your booking. And then the final payment is 90 days prior to departure. So we do not require your client to pay a year or year and a half in advance for the trip. It's just a deposit and a final payment. Unless they get air, if they do one of our air deals, then there's an additional deposit of $1,500 at the time that they purchase the air, where air is included. And then, and if they get business class, it'd be $1,500 plus whatever the difference is for business class. Now, with the Eclipse, seeing how it is a year and a half, 2 years away from when your client's going to sail, the expedition ships out there, competitors, typically charge 25% up front. We didn't feel that was quite fair, so since the ship hadn't been built. So right now it's been $1,000, $500 per person just to hold the cabin, non-refundable. And then at the end of February, there's going to be an additional $1,000 deposit due for your customers. And then a year from now, we'll bring that total deposit up to the 25% amount. And then the final payment, again, is 90 days prior to departure. You notice here also this couple gets the Scenic Club Gold discount. They're repeat customers, so as your customers travel more with us, they get a greater discount on their next trip. Groups, we were doing lots of groups on all brands, Scenic River Cruises, Scenic Eclipse, and Emerald. We encourage you to look at that. We will help you any way we can with flyers, discounts, presentations. It only takes 5 cabins, 1 for 9 TC, and that's where a lot of agents are really making good money and building their client lists as well. So encourage, if people book one of these, encourage them to talk to their friends. Sometimes you'll be very surprised that they can bring in 4 or 5 more couples. We do have a contest going for the Eclipse right now. You need to register online in our agent portal, and I'll show you that in a minute. It's some lucky travel agent is going to win a free cruise on our Venice to Barcelona trip, 10 days, which is our second sailing, and it includes round-trip business class air. So to enter, you need to go online and register, and then you need to book. So as you book, your name will go in the hat, and the more you book, the better your chances. Talk about the agent portal for a second here. This is a great resource for agents. There's a lot of information here. You can see the online registration. So your agency should be registered with us, and then you can go in and register underneath them to get access to the booking portal, etc. Our sales support, brochure orders. There's the Eclipse competition where you register for that. The Scenic Specialist program, we want you to take that, and it's not a difficult course to take, but it will enable you to be on our mailing list, so you're up to date with current offers and promotions, makes you eligible for FAM trips, etc. Let's talk about the Express Book. So it's not just a booking engine, it's immediate access to inventory. So if you have a client that is looking to take a river cruise, one of the challenging things is finding the right cruise, the date that has the right cabins available. So with our program, you can go in very quickly and put in the tour code for that particular sailing, which you will find in a brochure in the price box. You'll say like NBU. This is Gens the Danube here. So it's you put that in, you put in a date, you'll then go look 3 months out from that date and give you every sailing that's available. Actually comes out originally in a single line item. I have clicked on a plus button to expand it so I can look down. So if I had a cabin, a client that was looking for the single cabin, one single we have on board, no, there's that one, the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down towards the bottom, you'll see the single cabin. I can then select it. It'll actually show me the deck plan, the cabins that are showing a number are still available. The single cabin, by the way, is right there on the Sapphire deck. You can see there's a little stairwell there, so it's a little bit smaller, so they just put a single bed in there. That's how they get the single cabin, but it is a balcony. These are the standard cabins down here at the bottom, and these are all balcony cabins. And then the bigger suites, here's your 2 royal suites, the gray ones, those are gone. And the 2 royal panorama suites are gone. That's typical. It's unusual the single is still there. That sells quite quickly too. And give you an idea of the layout of the ship. So again, once you're in the booking engine, then it will tell you which particular specials are available for that particular cruise, and these change all the time based on availability. So then you select what's best for your client, and you go ahead and you can book it at that point. So it's a very easy system to use, and all your bookings will be collected in one area, so you can come back and manage them when you need to. And with that, I am done with the presentation. This is the list of our current sales representatives throughout the United States. If you happen to be joining us from Canada, there's a separate list for Canada. Anything I talked about today as far as special pricing is all relative to the U.S. market. Canada may or may be different from us, so I encourage you to go to the Canadian website, find your representative, and get an update from them. With that, I'll take some questions, Sandy.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. That just looks fantastic. Speaking of Canadian websites, we had a agent who was asking about a Canadian website, a website for Canadians, I should say. Can you give us the URL for that?
Right. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, Canada@scenictours.com.
Oh, that looks like an email address. What about is there a website with prices and whatnot?
I think it's Canada. Oh boy, I think if you Google Scenic, and if you're in Canada, it's going to pull up the Canada site anyway.
Okay.
And it'd be scenictours.ca, I believe, up there, and I think it's www.scenictours.ca.
Okay, excellent. So to our Canadian agent who asked that question, take a look for it at the website that Randy just gave, or give somebody a call at Scenic, and they'll let you know specifically what it is. One of our agents wants to know if any of the dining options for breakfast and lunch have something other than a buffet, or is it always a buffet in all of the dining venues for breakfast and lunch?
Good question. No, there's not always a buffet. So, or no, yes, it's kind of both answers. There's always a buffet for breakfast and lunch, and there's everything in the world in those buffets. But there's also menu items. So for breakfast, for example, if you wanted eggs Benedict, you wanted waffles, some of those types of things, you can order those a la carte. If for lunch, they'll have not typically on the buffet. They'll have you can order cheeseburgers, hamburgers, different kinds of specialty items. So typically 4, 5, 6 different things that you could order off a menu as well. Of course, dinner is all menu items.
Okay, excellent. While I ask the next question, one of our agents is requesting that you put the agent site back up. The picture of the, there we go. Okay, the Express book. Yeah. Hope that's what you wanted to see. One of our agents wants to know how travel agents can experience this product.
Well, they're certainly welcome to purchase a cabin, but we'd like to give you the opportunity to get a FAM rate. We have some FAM trips that are, organized FAM trips, which aren't terribly organized, but it's where the trip will be just travel agents on board, and we may have a couple meetings, one at the beginning, one at the end, but we want you to enjoy the trip just like you were a customer. But 120 days out, you can also check and see if there's a space available. There's quite a bit of space available on a sailing you would like, and you can request a FAM rate of $495. plus support tax plus your airfare, which is an outstanding deal, quite frankly. And but it's got to be a fair number of cabins still available on that sailing, because we will typically sell them out. So it's all controlled by inventory. Once you find something you think you'd like that looks like it's got a lot of space on it, contact your sales representative and ask them if they can get the FAM rate approved. So it's $495 for an agent, $995 for a companion.
Okay, fabulous. When the ships, particularly the Eclipse, goes to cold weather destinations like Antarctica, do you provide any outerwear like some of the cruise lines do to Antarctica, or are passengers going to be taking all the warm weather clothing they have in their closet?
Uh, yes, we will be providing. I don't know all the specifics. We're still a year and a half away, but actually 2 years away from the Arctic areas. But yes, my understanding is we'll have clothing, parkas, things like that. We also have a bunch of other specialty items, and bring our separate crew in just for the discovery type of opportunities in those unique areas.
Okay, wonderful. Do any cabins accommodate more than two people? And is there an age recommendation as far as the lower end of the age range for Scenic?
On the river cruise ships, it's either single or double occupancy. That's all we have at this point in time. We don't take any children under 12. The majority of the people on board are going to be your 55 to 75. Baby boomers and fairly active people. These trips are pretty active, quite frankly, because they're, every day you've got all these different excursions going on and things like that. On the Eclipse, there are going to be some opportunities. We're getting all the final information now. There is a nice 2-bedroom owner's suite that's 2,500 square feet that you would love to sell, except you can't get it in the first year. I think every sailing it's been taken. And then there's some spa suites. I believe there's going to be some triples available. I don't know that for sure yet. Again, all that's being finalized.
Okay. For the various tours that are available when our clients are choosing tours, will there be both half-day and full-day tours available in each destination?
No, typical for this type of river cruise, you have the tours are primarily in the morning. You come back, and it's not always the case, but primarily they're in the morning and you come back for lunch. We do have some full day tours, like, when we go to Salisbury, Jackson, Kremloff, some places like that where it's a bit of a ways. And in Bordeaux, we go to Cognac. But lunches are included, which is nice. And then, but we have the GPS units. We have the bikes, things like that, where people can really enjoy that and that local area on their own, which is what a lot of people want to do. But we don't really have any optional tours at all. So it's either included or they can do something on their own.
Okay, great. You mentioned that these are active vacations, active itineraries. Are they appropriate for our clients who have mobility issues?
Well, it's a sensitive area, really. On board the ship, we can handle people with mobility issues, even if they can't walk, because all the ships have elevators. I do encourage you to suggest that they go into a junior suite. Junior suites are right next to the elevator, so they're the first suites you come to. They are 250 square feet, so they're wider, and so there's a lot of area for them to get around the bed and things like that. The difficulty is getting on and off the ship and in and out of buses and over cobblestones, things like that. The experience on the land portion of the trip, we can help them to a certain degree, but as many of you know, been on the rivers, we tie up to other ships quite often, because that's just the nature of, there's no real docks sticking out in the river, so you have to go side by side. So you walk through one ship to the other. Sometimes the ship doesn't want you to walk through because they're having a whatever going on, so you have to walk up, over, and down. So it's a tricky situation. Quite frankly, if they can't walk on their own really at all, it's almost impossible because these gangplanks are so small that nobody can even fit on the gangplank with them to help them very much. So it's a pretty dangerous situation. So again, that's where your professionalism comes in to talk to them about that. We do have people that stay on board the ship that just can't get off, and it's still a beautiful experience, but that's the issue.
And for those who choose to stay on the ship, there are still services available, food and
Oh yeah,
whatnot. Yeah.
yeah. I've stayed on a ship a number of times. It's very relaxing.
I think that just about does it for the questions for today. So, unless anyone else has a last minute question, Randy has left the list of business development managers up there for you. And you can always call and ask a question or email if you haven't thought of a question yet or if something occurs to you. Uh, there is the list, and they will be very happy to help you. Our guest host today has been Scenic Cruises. Our speaker has been Randy Goodrich. Randy, as always, this was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandy. And the agents go out there and start selling. I hope it's going to be a great year for travel.
I
We
hope
all get
so
to
too.
travel, but more of your customers are out there traveling.
And I think
Thank you.
watching this presentation, I think we can all think of people already in our database who would be appropriate for this cruise line. And being the beginning of the year, why not include increasing your Scenic Emerald sales as part of your new business plan? So thank you again to everyone for taking time out of your day to join us today. And we will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.